Hi, my name's Kim J and I'm a visually impaired chef. I'm also a volunteer for RNIB. Now, earlier this year I showed you how to make a Christmas cake and how to feed it. Now we're coming towards Christmas and I'm going to show you how to decorate it. Decorating anything, especially when you're visually impaired, is so difficult. I find it extremely difficult. So I'm going to show you how to do it using different things that will make it very simplified and easy to do. Now what I've got is my amazing Christmas cake and they smell delicious. And I've got some ready rolled icing. Now you can use block icing. I prefer ready rolled, it's a lot easier. I've also got ready rolled marzipan. Now I know a lot of people aren't a lover of marzipan. If you don't like it, just don't have it. I've also got different coloured fondants which are available at supermarkets. So I've got red fondant and green fondant. I also have apricot jam. Now don't be tempted to use other kinds of jams like strawberry or raspberry. Apricot is good because it's a lot clearer than the other jams. It won't show through when you ice your cakes. And I've also got sort of a selection of things that will help me to decorate this cake. I've got a holly cut out and I've got some little Christmas decorations and some ribbon, and these are the things with some icing sugar to help roll out the marzipan and icing that we're going to need to make and decorate this beautiful cake. Firstly, we're going to get the apricot jam and we're going to melt it so it's easier to spread on the cakes. So you need a healthy dollop, about 4 or 5 tablespoons worth. Put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds until it's melted. Taken the jam out of the microwave and it's melted, so it's almost a liquid. I'm going to give it a quick stir and then with a pastry brush I'm going to rub this jam all over the top and the sides of the cake. And as you're rubbing, you'll feel that it's sticky, which is what you need for the marzipan and icing to adhere to this lovely, lovely cake. I've got a pastry board out, my rolling pin, I've got my cake which I've put the jam on, and some icing sugar and some marzipan. Now on my pastry board I'm going to sprinkle some icing sugar to make it easier to roll and use. And then I'm going to put my marzipan out. Now for those of you that are using block marzipan, you need the marzipan to be approximately about 2 millimeters in thickness. Again, it depends on you how thick you want it. Some people like a lovely thick bit of marzipan or a thin one. I'm now going to put some icing sugar on top, like so. And I'm going to take my Christmas cake. Now with the top side down, I'm going to place it in the centre of this marzipan. Remember, top side down. And then I'm going to very gently fold in the sides of the marzipan so it covers the sides of the cake, bringing it to the top and just gently pressing it in. And you do that all the way around until it is covered. You won't have enough to go at the bottom of the cake. If you want to, you can make it thinner and put it at the bottom of the cake, but it's not necessary. It's the sides and the tops that are important. Now you will feel that there are folds in the marzipan as you're folding it in. And what I'm doing is I'm gently, very gently, I'm just turning the cake in my hands. And as I'm turning it, I'm pressing very gently the marzipan, and with it I'm actually kind of just squeezing those folds out and making it nice and smooth. Now if you do have excess marzipan at the bottom of the cake and you don't want it, just cut it away or just smooth it down. I've very gently smoothed the sides out. Now I'm going to turn it around so the top is back evident. And with a rolling pin and a very, very light hand, you don't want to be too heavy with this, I'm just going to roll it on the top of the cake. And what this will do is it'll smooth out any cracks or any folds. Now I've done that, I'm going to get my jam again, and once again I'm going to give a light brush across the top and the sides of the marzipan, ready for the icing to go on. I'm now going to put the icing on the cake. So again, on my pastry board, I'm going to sprinkle some icing sugar and roll out the icing until it's big enough to be able to cover the sides as well as the top. Now whenever you do ice your cake, don't be tempted to throw the marzipan and icing remnants away. They do come in useful. Again, just putting plenty of icing sugar on there. I'm going to get the cake and once again putting the top part of it down flat on the centre of the icing. We do exactly what we did with the marzipan, fold it in and start smoothing. I've smoothed the sides and I'm very gently going to tip it up so the top side is now showing, smoothing the side, and once again with a rolling pin a very gentle roll across the top so you have this lovely smooth finish. And now begins the fun bit, decorating it. I've got my cake and I've got the different coloured fondants. I've got the icing, the white icing that was left over from when I iced the cake. I've also got the red fondant and the green fondant. Now if you want different colours, you can buy different colours, or you could get food colouring and mix it into the white icing if that's what you want. I've also got a bowl with some water in it. Now go mad at this part. Just let your imagination go riot. Don't worry if you don't know what you're doing or if it doesn't look good. I just sort of sit there and say, well, it's a Picasso Christmas cake. So what I'm going to do is I've got the red icing and I'm going to make some tiny little balls out of them. They're approximately 3 millimeters in diameter and I'm going to make a lot of them and I'm going to decorate that around the edge of the Christmas cake. I made the little red balls and what I've got is a pastry brush, and with the water I'm just running the water on the edge of the cake and I'm gently going to place those little red balls around the edge, and what happens is the water will allow that moulded icing to stick, and I'm using my fingers and the sense of touch to space them out evenly all the way around. I've decorated the tops of my Christmas cake and I'm now going to put a ribbon around it. I've got a length of red ribbon which I've cut to encompass the cake. Now in order to stick it down, I've got a little bit of that white icing left and I'm going to take little dots of it, sort of about half a centimetre, and just dampen it with some water and place it on the ribbon. And what this will do is it'll help the ribbon stick to the cake. Now when my kids were little, Christmas cake decorating was a tradition in our house. We'd get up on the morning that we're decorating the Christmas cake, and I had 4 children and I had 3 Christmas cakes and they would all decorate it. And everyone wishes for snow at Christmas. Well, in our house, snow came early because by the time they had finished decorating the Christmas cake, it looked like a blizzard had gone off in our kitchen. Icing sugar everywhere, they'd had fights with them. The cakes themselves actually looked as if poor Santa had crashed into them. But you know, they loved every minute of it. This is a great thing about holidays. We all develop traditions that we carry on to the next generation. Now my children have children of their own. A new tradition has started. I make the Christmas cake, give it to the parents, and they do what I used to do all those years ago. Let their children decorate it. It's not as fun, I've got to admit. I miss watching them decorate it, but time moves on and so should we. I put all these dots onto this ribbon, and I'm now going to wrap it around the Christmas cake, making sure that it is nice and even, and pressing the ribbon where those icing dots are onto the cake to allow it to stick. My Christmas cakes are all decorated, and I am so excited for Christmas and to meet my loved ones. Have an amazing time decorating them. Enjoy it. Don't worry about what it looks like. It's the fun that matters. And I'm going to wish you all a lovely Christmas and a very happy new year. Now you have a recipe for a great dish. But when you're in the kitchen, there are certain safety guides and rules that you should adhere to, and which keeps you safe. Now, one of the things that I do before I start cooking is I make sure that I've got shoes on that are sturdy with good grips. I make sure that there's nothing on the floor that I can trip over, and there are no spillages or liquid or condensation on the floor that makes it a bit of a hazard. Now, before cooking, the first thing that you do, as we all know, is wash our hands thoroughly. And especially when you're dealing with raw meat at every stage, wash your hands thoroughly. It stops cross-contamination. It keeps you and your family safe. When you're using the oven and the hob, know your oven and hob really well. Now, I use tactile markings so that I know exactly what temperature to put the oven on and what setting, so that I've not put the grill on when I should be putting the oven on. Now, with the hob, whenever you're sort of putting anything on the hob, make sure the handle is not sticking out. Now, I like to keep the handle at approximately 10 to 12. And the reason for that is it's not near enough to the unit for you to accidentally knock it off. It is not over another hob which may be on, so the handle's getting hot. So this is the safest position. Now, if you're boiling anything, be very careful. Don't fill the pan up too much, and if possible, use the boiler alert, which tells you when that liquid is bubbling away and it's hot, and it keeps you safe. If you're not comfortable with the hob and the oven, use the microwave whenever you can. It's a lot safer. And every time you are taking things out of the oven or from the microwave, because remember, plates and dishes get extremely hot in the microwave, use oven gloves. Now, I like to use thermal oven gloves. They're a lot safer. Don't be tempted to use tea towels or anything else. And they literally go to extreme temperatures, so you're very safe with them. Whenever you cut any food in the kitchen, use safe cutting methods. Keep the blade away from your fingers, so set it a couple of millimeters away from your fingers, and that way you're safe all the time. Now, if you're not confident with a knife, you can use appliances like food processors. Make sure you know how they work properly, and keep safe. And if you're still not confident, ask somebody else to do it. It is better to be safe than have an injury. If you have any cuts or you cut yourself whilst you're in the kitchen, put a plaster on it. And if you have a burn, run it under cold water. And if it's bad, you seek medical advice straight away. Whenever you cook meat, always ensure that the meat is thoroughly cooked, because you know, raw meat will give you food poisoning. Now, the best optimum temperature to cook meat is between 66 degrees and 73 degrees. Use a food thermometer if you're not too sure. They do have talking food thermometers, which you can get quite easily. And you store the meat as soon as you can. As soon as it's cooled down, store it straight away in the fridge, and read the advice on storage on the labels.